And, well, I saw him pulling around as a pair, but I guess we're going to start off with Kim Parker on a solo, the injected nitro machine. It was welded together down at Copeland's race shop in Texas a few years back. Kim and Randy Parker, a unique husband and wife race team, both race in the alcohol ranks. Randy raced an alcohol funny car from time to time. There are not a ton of husband and wives that race in NHRA, both that have had national event success. Certainly not in cars that run over 250 miles an hour. But the green machine going to be the first one rolling through. Now, Team Parker, they just rolled in yesterday afternoon, so they did not take advantage of the test session yesterday. This is going to be their first crack at it. For XL Drywall, Power Sports. I know we've got a few casual fans out here, probably a few of them that maybe haven't seen the alcohol cars run before. Under the guise of what NHRA calls top alcohol dragster, top alcohol funny car, you are allowed a choice of combinations. If you want to put a big supercharger on top of it, well, then you got to run alcohol in the tank. If you don't want to run the supercharger, you can just run the injected combination, and you're allowed to put nitro in it. And that's what this machine is. You'll hear a vast difference in tone between the two. Matter of fact, the supercharged alcohol cars will be turning more RPM on the burnout than an injected nitro car turns all the way down the racetrack. These machines operate on low RPM grunt. They've got a centrifugal style clutch in them, what funny car racer Robert Height once called a glorified go-kart clutch. As they roll in here at an idle, when you hear Kim take her foot off the clutch, you'll hear the pop and bang as the engine starts getting a little load under it. And then she'll just smash the gas from an idle and take off. One of the keys to success in these cars is keeping the cylinders lit. There's a lot of fuel going through there. You'll drown out the spark plugs from time to time. Watch for white mist coming out of the pipes. If you see liquid out of the pipes, you know it ain't hitting on all eight. Kim Parker leading off our top alcohol qualifying injected car on a solo. Oh, it just took the tire off right at the step. About the time Kim's foot hit the floor, those big old Goodyears wouldn't hold on anymore. That was just a little too much and a little too soon. I guarantee you Randy and Kim right now at this point are wishing they could have gotten up here early enough yesterday to take a test crack at the racetrack, but just a little bit too much, a little too soon. Took the tire off immediately. And let's see, Kim was under power for what, about half a second? 3/4 of a second? Still ran 10 seconds down to the quarter-mile stripe at 121 miles an hour. So that was a bit of a disappointing start for Team Parker, but they'll be back a little bit later on today and have another shot at it. And now we'll be sending them side by side. We've got 7 cars here on the property, so the first one out is solo. And this is going to be Mike Quayle and Chris Dempke, and both of these drivers yesterday did take advantage of the test session. Quayle's car put up some very aggressive numbers early, but it had a bad habit of shaking the tires out there about 150 feet. I said it's easy to make power when you've got air and conditions like this, but making sure that you've got the balance of power and application to the traction out there is really the key. Here's the first blown alcohol car. Listen to the difference of the engine, the high whine and scream of the alcohol car versus the injected nitro machine. Brooks Brown, the crew chief for Mike Quayle over here on the left side, is a guy that literally has been around injected nitro cars his whole life. When he was a little kid, his dad was one of the guys that were out here running these cars. And that's when they weren't very successful. It took a while for the magneto technology to catch up with the amount of nitro that you need to burn in one of these things to make it happen. And over the course of the last few years, the balance between the two has been pretty solid.
We'll break in for 1 second
Sure.
here. Sportsman, this is your call to lane. Sportsman, bring them down to 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sportsman, this is your call to staging. 1, 2, 3, and 4 for Sportsman. And with that, we'll give Super Pro a standby call. Super Pro, get ready. You are on standby.
Thank you, John. Chris Dempke over on the right side. He's a former world champion, the Jerry Mattern machine. This is a new race car. Came down here, made some shakedown runs yesterday. And again, listen to the difference on the starting line. The car in the left lane is going to leave from an idle. The car in the right lane will be over 6,000 RPMs. when he pulls in and lights that second bulb. 3-speed transmission in the alcohol car. He'll be shifting that thing north of 10 grand. Mike Quayle's car won't see 6,000 the whole trip down the track. Dempke's getting up on the center line, but man, he hung with it. Drug second gear out for a while. 5.24 seconds, 275 miles an hour. Man, that thing made a move pushing over towards the center line, and Dempke was not to be denied. He fought it back into the middle of the groove. Unfortunately for Mike Quayle's team, they had the same issue that Kim Parker had right in front of him. Foot hit the floor. The big old Goodyears just wouldn't quite hold on. Took the tire off right at the step and coast down to a 14-second elapsed time.
You know, you mentioned yesterday about the difference in tone just before the A fuel car stages, well, between the two bulbs where they release the clutch, and now there's a little load on the motor. I remember having a conversation with Randy Parker years ago, and he's telling me at that split second, that thing's trying to turn the crankshaft in two directions.
I thought they just went clockwise.
Well, they do. They do. But
no, it's a centrifugal
it
clutch.
fights back a little bit.
It's a centrifugal clutch, and you've got a pedal on the clutch. But when you release the pedal and start dragging the clutch, it's kind of like dropping an automatic transmission in drive. You're just putting a little load on the motor.
Absolutely, but I think he was referring to the amount of fuel they're pumping through there. The thing's just on the verge of potentially hydraulicking itself, and I think that's what he meant by trying to push the crankshaft in two directions.
Yeah, that never ends well.
No, definitely not.
It's kind of like there are people that will tell you that the only thing standard is change, but that's not true. For 10 million years, it's been impossible to compress liquid, and still is. Every once in a while, a nitro racer tries it, and it's still impossible. Completely impossible. Comes the LAD automotive machine. Mike Austin firing up, and Mitch Myers for Team IFA hose protection is once again. We're going to have a blower car on one side, an injected car on the other. The injected cars almost always start first. Just they have a little bit longer routine. They'll fire those things up on alcohol, let them build a little heat in the engine before they switch over to nitro. You can also, just at a glance, even from a long distance, you can tell the difference in the two cars at a glance just by looking at the rear wing. Because of the way the injected nitro cars apply power, they are really hustling out there from about 300 feet to the 8th mile, and they need downforce. That's why you see a much bigger wing on the injected nitro car. Now, when Austin rolls forward, you look at the smaller wing because the alcohol cars, pause for burnout, they have a much more linear acceleration rate utilizing the transmission. And they don't necessarily need the downforce out there in the middle of the racetrack. They just need a little stability. So when you're walking through the pits, you take a glance at it, you see a great big wing on the back of it. You're looking at a nitro car, and you see a much smaller wing. You're looking at a blown alcohol machine.
So another difference that's quite obvious between the two combos would be the length of the burnout. A fuel car with a fairly short burnout. Why would that be?
Well, for the most part, that's true, but that's not necessarily universal. The A fuel cars utilize a top fuel tire, so they don't need to build a lot of heat in the tires. They just need to make sure they've got them clean, got them dry, and got them ready to go. And you don't want to build necessarily a lot more heat in the engine. Most of the alcohol cars, you don't have to do a long burnout. It's just fun. And the alcohol cars don't burn heat in the engine nearly as fast as the injected nitro cars do.
Well, there's nothing wrong with having fun.
524, that's a number to shoot for. If you want the number one spot, you got to take it away from Dempke. Myers got his car off the starting line, huh? Neither one of them's going to get the top spot, but that's the best side-by-side run we've seen so far. 548, only 220 miles an hour. Look at the speed on Mike Austin's scoreboard. That thing was not running wide open down to the finish line stripe. 549 at 259. For Team Myers, they were rattling the tires loose out there yesterday, backed it down a little bit. You can tell by the 60-foot time that they eased it off the starting line. But they were able to get a full pull in, and now they've got something to build on. 549, 259 for Myers. 548, only 220 miles an hour, comes up on the scoreboard for Mike Austin. Looking at the early numbers, Mike could get that thing to run to the finish line. He's probably another 1/10.5 anyway. I don't believe he was going to be in Dempke territory, but it certainly was going to run a whole lot better than 5:48 if he could keep that hitting on all 8. Well, here we go. Our final pair of alcohol dragsters. And it's going to feature the green machine, Darian and Grizzle. And it's going to feature your champion. Hey, Mission Raceway, for a number of years, Sean Cowie has called this place home. For a number of years, he's chased up and down the highways and byways of North America. And for a number of years, he's come up that much short in his championship chase. For the first time in actual competition, your hometown alcohol racer as the world champion is coming in to Mission Raceway, trying to defend his home turf here at the National Open, proudly displaying the number 1 on the wing. Just getting one of them cleared around the top end of the race course, and we'll fire the next pair.
So, of course, our hope is now that he's got his young son, Jackson, driving a junior dragster, that we're going to see a little more of the Cowie family back here at Mission on maybe a little more of a regular basis.
I'd say that's very possible. Yeah, James been running the Super Comp car down in the States quite a bit as well. I don't know how much he comes out here on a regular weekend basis, but I think the Cowie name is going to be very, very proficient in drag racing for a number of years, decades, generations to come. The green car overseen by the veteran Jerry Darian. And I don't believe there's anybody that has taken more racers through his school, so to speak, and sent them on to have success in the nitro cars. And I mean, you want to go back in time a little bit, the Pedregon brothers drove for Jerry Darian, Gary Selzy, Morgan Lucas, Ashley, Brittany, Courtney Force, all drove that car at some point. Their learning curve on their way up to the nitro ranks where they had a lot of success. Casey Gristle was a guy that worked with Jerry Darian, worked on the car for a number of years. And at one point when they didn't have anybody to drive it, Casey said, "How about me? I'd like to take a swing at it." And they have become quite a partnership. That is your Langley, British Columbia-based world champion, Sean Cowie. Just a tremendous story. For those of you who don't know, and I'm assuming most of the people in this part of the world do, what's it been now, 15 years ago? Leading a championship chase, coming off of a big weekend in Houston, headed to Gainesville, and some drunk idiot literally knocked him off of a bridge. He was riding his Harley on the way down to Florida. The doctors told him he would probably never walk again. He said, "You don't know me very well." Then they told him he'd probably never drive a race car again, and he said, "Watch." Down there with his wife, Taylor, and this tremendous family operation. Monday's Towing is the family organization. Slow down, move over. Of course, when you got tow trucks out on the highway, you're definitely going to be backing up stuff that looks after our first responders. 5:24 is number 1. Yesterday, Cowie went a 10th quicker than that. Can he do it again today? Can the Darian and Gristle team step up and steal the thunder from their hometown hero? .519, 273 miles an hour, and your world champion goes to the top. 5:22 for the Darian and Gristle team. 280 miles an hour. Good solid run out there for Team Green as well, and they're going to end up 1 and 2. Sean Cowie, by a couple of hundredths of a second, the only one of the teens, going to be the number 1 qualifier after 1. Jerry Darian, Casey Gristle, you got top speed after 1, and we'll have 2 more shots at it coming up a little bit later on. And we're not done with making a whole lot of noise and a whole lot of smoke yet, because here comes Brian Howard.
So we got a good little crowd building in the stands. I want to thank you for coming out to Mission Raceway Park. Round 1 of qualifying for top alcohol cars. We're going to see them 2 more times today. So with that, Alan, I'm going to put the mic down again and leave things in your very capable hands. I will be back shortly.
Best of luck out there on the racetrack, John. Thank you for coming up and sharing a few minutes. Sportsman ET, I need you to the staging lanes, please. Sportsman ET to the staging lanes. I want to personally give a big tip of the cap and a mission thank you to Brian Howe. When they announced that they were going to run alcohol cars as part of this National Open, there simply are not a ton of funny cars up in this part of the country. But Brian, his wife Mindy out in front, they wanted to come up and at least represent the class. This is one of the most solid running cars in the country. Finished top 3 in the world last year for Cascade, for Oregon Motor Coach. Actually had a little bit of a glitch getting the thing across the border a couple of days ago, but Brian, who had flown up here, drove back, spoke to the border people, got everything squared away. They're here for one reason and one reason only, and that's just to show off the alcohol funny car class. They get idled down the racetrack and claim themselves the champions. But Brian ain't very good at idling down the racetrack. 546, 264 miles per hour. One of the quickest runs ever made in an alcohol funny car here at Mission. Now, yesterday we had some inaccurate data and claimed that his 49 or 47 was a new track record. That's not true. It'd been a couple of years since Brian ran here, but the last time he was here, he ran a 543, which still holds as the track record. But 540 anything is a pretty solid move. So again, for Brian, for Mindy, for the entire team down there, we know that you guys had to do a little hoop jumping to get up here and show off the category of alcohol funny car. It's been a while since we've had any of them running here at Mission, and we very, very much appreciate the fact that you guys made it happen. So we'll see him again in just a couple of hours for qualifying session number 2. Mike Quayle going to kick things off here in qualifying session number 2. Now, the run order for qualifying session number 2 is based on the performance in qualifying session number 1. So if you were a real show-off, like, oh, let's just pick a name out of the hat, Sean Cowie, you're going to be last because he made the best run. You're also switching lanes this time. Mike Quayle, since his top speed on the first qualifying run was, well, let's just say it wouldn't get you a ticket if you were out there on the highway. What's that, Highway 17 or Highway 11 or Highway 42 or with Bruce Springsteen's Highway 9? I don't know, it's one of those. But anyway, 52 miles an hour because Quayle took the tire off last time and then just idled down. So by him being the slowest qualifier in session number 1, he has earned the right to go first. If you have to, then you tell everybody it's an advantage. If you don't have to, then, well, it's a punishment. But let's see if they can get this thing to move off the starting line this time. As I said yesterday, the car was very aggressive early and then went out there and rattled the tire a little bit through the middle. Brooks Brown has walked away and told his driver, all right, Mike, get her down there for us. They don't have to run in the teens. I think they'd be happy with a 30-something. I think that'll work. Whoa, 525, 272 miles an hour. Hey, Brooks, happy up a little bit, huh? Brooks, come on, cheer up. What's the matter with you? Man, they are jazzed. Nice, clean, solid run. Looked like they cut the pipe slid all the way down. 272 miles an hour across the finish line. And a 525 by my math. I'm going to put him in the number 4 spot right now. Remember, Cowie went in the teens because, well, he's Sean. Casey Grills was in at a 22. Dempke at a 24. And now we'll pencil Mike Quayle in at 25. And since we've got 7 cars on the property, we start with a single and then send them at you side by side. And the next two rolling around the corner, going to be Mitch Myers and Kim Parker. This time, a couple of injected nitro cars. Mitch got down sort of last time. Car at 549, 259 miles an hour. The car wasn't running happy, certainly, all the way down to the finish line stripe. And Kim Parker, you may recall, the green machine that is now over on the right side, last time was over here on the left side. And she hit the gas, and it took the tire off immediately with a capital E. Both of them with the alcohol bottle attached to the rear of the manifold. And drop a little liquid in and spin that baby over.
Hey, you want to give a happy birthday to Mr. Dennis Svetic sitting right here on the grandstands in the little door war shirt there?
It's Dennis Fedek's birthday today? Really?
He's not listening.
Dennis. Happy birthday, Dennis.
His daughter who's sitting in the big down there is the one that drives that front engine dragster.
All right, a little heat. Switch over to the yellow stiff. Start popping and banging on nitro. Right now, if you want to beat a man, you got to outrun the champ. 519. If you want to move into the top half of the field, you got to outrun that 525 that we just saw, because that right now is number 4 on the sheet. Junior Street, come on down for round number 2. Junior Dragsters, come on down for round number 1. And remember, dial into the left, dial into the left, dial into the left. The Junior Streeters also all did a fabulous job. Annie didn't look like she wanted to throw anything at anybody. At least not me, and so that's what always makes me happy. IFA hose protection system. GTSE cable tie. Mitch Myers, one of the world champions. I can't believe it was 20 years ago. But it was. And over on the right side, Team Parker. Randy, the husband, walks away from the left side of the engine, and Kim, the wife, strapped into the seat. Kim's car last time didn't go 5 feet. Got to be better than that. No! Mitch goes 551, 262 miles an hour. Almost duplicated the run he made earlier when he went 549 at 259. So the car's consistent but didn't pick up any performance, and you're certainly not going to see any jubilation down there like you saw out of Brooks when his car ran. And well, for Team Copeland and Team Parker, that also was about a carbon copy run. It took the tire off right at the step. Kim leaned back on the throttle just to drive it on down there. But she ends up, for you record keepers out there, 7.20 seconds, 258 miles an hour. They haven't quite figured out how to get that car through the initial 10 feet. We know what that car's capable of. Aw, does that say we love you, Alan? Is there somebody else here named Alan? Then it must be me. What the heck is all that smoke? little blue out of the pipe down there on Chris Demke's car. I guarantee you Kevin's down there going, we put rings on that piston, right? Yeah, we probably did. Most of them anyway. One's enough, right? Maybe, probably, kind of. So we had a couple injected cars go side by side. We'll have a couple of blower cars go side by side. Mike Austin over on the right side. Out of Oregon, the LAD Automotive team. And Chris Demke, the Team Peenright. Clean booth. The Jerry Madden Racing team. Kevin Watson, the big guy on the right side of the car, serves as the crew chief. They don't seem too concerned about that one smoky pipe, so if it's not bothering them, it's not bothering me. Demke in the opening session was one of the guys that was reasonably happy. A 524 is what came up on his scoreboard. And for Mike Austin, in the opening session, a 548, but only 220 miles an hour. You remember Austin's run. Shut it off early down there, but it was definitely on the way to a better run than what he ended up with. I'm still a little concerned with all that blue smoke out of the one pipe over there. Cylinder number 5 does not look happy. Cylinder number 6. .538 all the way to the stripe this time, 268 miles an hour for Mike Austin. So a good solid run for him. And for Chris, I mean, the smoke out of the pipe didn't seem to bother him, but the smoke off the tires when he dropped the clutch sure did. I do want to say a big thank you to Demke. Whoever made up the sign that says, "We love you, Alan." Oh, I love you guys too. I hope they're talking to me. Thank you. I love you too. I feel all warm and fuzzy.
No, it's the computer's doing some weird things. The name doesn't matter. And then that's Pro? That's Pro. They're both red.
So Demke will stand on his run from earlier. And he'll remain in the quick half of the field. And as a matter of fact, the two coming up now were the final two earlier. They started 1 and 2, and they're still 1 and 2. Casey Gristle has got top speed at 280.02 miles an hour. I did the math. You know how many kilometers that is? 450 and a half. What was top speed? 450. Yeah, 450. I went 450. Like, well, alrighty then. But it was a good, solid opening shot for both teams. Now, a little bit of sun on the racetrack right now, so the track temp is going to be up a little bit. Running in the teens might be a bit of a tall order. But if there's one thing I've learned over the years, don't ever bet against that Monday's towing car when it's sitting down there on the starting line. Because there have been a number of times, and I thought, you know, I'm not sure they can make an improvement. Oh, look, the new #1 qualifier. Jerry Darian, Casey Gristle, Team Green, just waiting for the thumbs up. You can see a couple of quads down there on the far end of the racetrack doing a quicko inspection. Make sure everything's clear down there, and as soon as they get out of the way, we'll bring in the final pair. Juniors, both street and a dragster. I need you to the staging lanes, please. And again, the great thing about the juniors, you almost never have to call them twice. When you say junior drags to the staging lanes, that's like saying, hey, Reinhardt, free beer. You never have to say that twice. I will be there for free beer. Now, not counting the alcohol cars from here on out, we are in eliminations. And we're going to run to conclusion tonight, and then we're going to have a whole nother brand new race tomorrow. The exception, of course, being the alcohol cars. They're going to qualify today, and then they will run their one and only race tomorrow. That's your champion who just loves long burnouts and hates tires and valve springs. And that's your current top speed holder. 280 miles an hour earlier today. Now, Cowie did go 280.9 yesterday in testing, which was one of the fastest speeds ever recorded by a blower car. Top speed of the meet, usually pretty darn close to every time. He's going to go to an injected nitro car. They just run a little bit more mile an hour out the back. The alcohol cars got to make up the time early in the run. Then when you rev up that big blown Hemi and drop the clutch, those cars rule more aggressive on the early part of the run. And then the alcohol cars really start hustling out there from about 300 or 400 feet through the middle of the racetrack. 1 and 2 when we started the session, 1 and 2 still. The only thing they could do is swap spots, and if they do that, the green car is going to have to be 18 or better. Final 2 from the first session, final 2 from the final session. One more time. How about 5:13, 280.2 miles an hour. They improved on a warmer racetrack, and look at the hugs and high fives going on down there on the Cowie side. A 5:29 at 274, nothing to sneeze at for Darian and Grizzle either, but 5.13, 130, fourth quickest official run ever in a blown alcohol car. And 280.2 is going to just miss the top 10 speeds ever in a blown alcohol car. Because I know somebody's curious, there's always somebody curious. The fastest speed ever by a blown alcohol car, 281.5, and that was Sean Cowie. Did it in Dallas a couple of years ago. And that 5.130 will slot in number 4. And 3 of the top 4 quickest speeds ever all belong to, or quickest ETs ever, all belong to, all together now, Sean Cowie. So your champ is number 1. And he didn't just stretch it out by a smidge. He put a little daylight between himself and the field out there. And there ain't nothing wrong with the Darren and Grizzle car either. That 529 at 274. That is 2 good, solid back-to-back runs. So Cowie stays 1. Grizzle stays 2, unofficially. Unofficially, because I'm not that good at counting. Dempke stays 3. Mike Quayle, biggest mover in that session. And here comes Brian Howe, going to make another hit with the Cascade truck and trailer machine, Oregon Motor Coach. Ram Trucking. Again, I mentioned it earlier, really appreciate Brian and Mindy, and they had to do a little hoop jumping to get up here, but the opportunity to come out, show off a little bit with their alcohol machine was one that they were not going to miss. Well, let's see. Sean picked up 0.06 of a second, so, you know, come on, Brian. I mean, come on, Brian. If you pick up 0.06 of a second, you get to reset the track record that you already hold. Again. Ruh-roh. Something definitely not right down there. As you can hear, the Cascade machine has gone silent. Not possible to tell from up here what exactly the issue was, but they obviously saw something they weren't happy with. And picked up the body, took a look, and no mops out, no nothing like that. So, I mean, I'm not trying to be too technical or anything, but All right, we're going to have 3 pairs of cars here. I'm told that Mike Austin happy with what he ran earlier, has opted to sit out the last session. Currently in the field with a 5:38, solid 268 miles an hour. There's no rule that says you have to run all the sessions if you don't want to. And he said, you know, I'll just get ready to go for tomorrow. I'll tell you who probably wants this run more than anybody is Kim Parker's green machine over there on the right side. Twice they have brought that thing up to the starting line, and twice they have not made it past the Christmas tree, still under power. Steve Baskerville, we need you back, please. And Super Gas, you need to come in as well. Steve, we need you back for the rerun. Rerun's going to run right behind Alcohol, and then Super Gas, you guys can come on down. We'll get you paired up. The Lorax. Okay. The Lorax. I still thought there was a yak. Well, Grok says no. What a world we live in. We can ask your phone if there was a yak and get an answer in 2 seconds. Thanks, Elon. XAI is a beautiful thing. So we get all pairs. We get Mitch Myers. The IFA hose protection machine here on the left side, and we get Kim Parker. Kim wanted to make sure those tires are nice and warm this time. Here's the deal. We've got 7 cars on a property. The number 1 qualifier is going to get a buy run. Unless something like holy smokes happens out there, that's going to be Sean Cowie. If somebody out there can run a 5:12 right now and move Sean out of the number 1 spot, that's going to be pretty impressive stuff. That doesn't mean somebody's not going to try. As John was telling you about the all-concrete race surface here, very conducive to good times. A little bit of a cloud starting to roll over the starting line right now. That won't hurt anything. You'd be amazed how fast the track temp can drop a couple of degrees, and you'd be amazed what a difference that can make. All eyes, or at least most of them right now, are on the green machine over in the right side. Because Mitch Myers, last time out, actually Mitch Myers both times out, has not really made a full run. He's made the same run twice, like a 51 and a 49. But I don't think I'm telling tales out of school to tell you 51 and a 49 not going to win this race tomorrow. You're going to need to run at least in the 20s or 30s. At least. A little pop and bang coming off the clutch. I'm telling you, they're loading up that Parker machine. Well, you heard Mitch pedal it down there. 555, 262 miles an hour. Still stuck in the same place, and well, that time Kim hit the gas and it just kind of hiccuped out there. It had at least one cylinder out when she smashed the gas and just went silent. So I have a feeling it's going to be a late night back there at Camp Parker. Well, they try to figure out just exactly what's wrong with that thing. I can also tell you, whoever comes up to race Kim Parker tomorrow is going to come up understanding what the car's capable of and not necessarily what the car did today. So we'll get the quad out there to get Kim cleared, and we'll bring the next pair at you. Featuring Chris Demke and Mike Quayle. Chris in the black car and Mike in the, oh, well, that didn't help, the black car. As a general rule, I try not to play favorites in the alcohol ranks, but since Amy's got a sign down there that says, well, the first one said, love you, Alan. Now it says, miss you, Alan. I'm right here. I liked it more when you love me than when you miss me. Super Gas, come on down. We need your lanes, please. Super Gas, head this way. Hey, race fans, when we finish up the alcohol qualifying tonight, we're going to have racing on the track for another couple of 3 hours or so. If you didn't have anything else going on Saturday night, why not hang out here? We're going to run until we're handing out trophies and checks later on in the evening. And then tomorrow, we're going to come back and run another complete separate event. Now, Sunday, because everybody's already comfortable with the track, we're going to run one time trial / qualifying run that'll set the ladders and then go directly into eliminations. So if you want to come back out tomorrow, we'll get you out in time for Sunday dinner. And tomorrow, of course, the alcohol cars are going to run to conclusion. (8:30) will be our start time again tomorrow, and I'm assuming we'll start with juniors like we did today. Also, for those of you that are here, if you didn't see the memo, if you're going to miss your normal Sunday worship services because you're camped out here at the track or staying here at the track, don't worry about it. RFC, as normal, has got you covered. Chapel service will take place 7:30 tomorrow, third floor of the tower. It is non-denominational. Everyone is welcome. I mean, if, like Kim and Randy Parker are looking for a little divine intervention tomorrow in round number 1, they'll come up and take part in RFC. Can't hurt. Can't hurt. Have they figured out where neutral is yet? There we go. Bring out the pusher quad in. We'll get Kim's car down to the top end of the racetrack. And I think it's going to be kind of a late night for the Copeland team, Team Parker tonight. Because I guarantee you, just because they didn't run very well today in qualifying doesn't mean that they're giving up on the race. They're going to try to figure out what's wrong with that thing. Come back out here and maybe surprise somebody tomorrow. I mean, you got to think about it. It's kind of a bummer. You spend all the time during the week getting ready, and then you come up here and spend all the time getting ready, and you get up and you hit the gas, and your car goes, bleh. It's like, oh, come on, really? Really? But Mom said there'd be days like that. I don't think it's often that Kim Parker leaves the drag strip thinking, I would have had more fun driving the school bus today. But there is a reason they call it drag racing, because some days it's just a drag. All right, we've got all of our super gassers rolling in back behind the tower, getting squared away for round number 1.
No, so you don't actually have to qualify. You just can't dial slower than 530. Because John DeJong was asking the same thing last night. He's like, the car went at 29, but Nikita went at 30, 31, and I'm kind of worried. And I'm like, no, he's going to qualify. You don't have to qualify. You just can't dial slower than 530. Yeah, but I assume you're not going to anyways because your car's way faster.
And as the green machine makes a swing at the top end of the racetrack, we should be getting a signal here momentarily to fire the next pair. Mike Quayle, right side, the injected nitro car. Again, you can always tell by a glance just by looking at the wing. The injected nitro car will always have a much more substantial wing Then the blown alcohol car. Chris Demke. Here on the left side. Currently sitting in the number 3 qualifying position. Here comes the blower car first. And here comes the injected nitro burn. Blown alcohol machines, the quickest and fastest quarter-mile cars in NHRA competition. And it really is a treat to have them back up here at Mission. Been a while since we've had alcohol cars in competition up here, battling it out for realsies. Hey, listen up at the pits. Oh, attention to the pits. Super comp, super comp. You can head this way, please, super comp. To the lane. Kevin Watson out in front of the car on the left side where he serves as crew chief. You see Brooks Brown alongside the engine of the car on the right side making the final idle adjustment. He's looking down at the dashboard, watching the RPMs. He adjusts the air bleeds on the side of that injector. And a nod from one side to the other. My driver's ready. Yep, so's mine. And they will roll him in. Car very aggressive, then it makes a move towards the wall and he had to shut her down. 5:31 for Quayle, 270 miles an hour. Mike Quayle was in with a 5:25 earlier, so he'll stay in the same spot. But Chris Demke's car very aggressive early. You saw it the first 150 feet or so, and just looking at the numbers, by 330 feet he was well out in front of Mike Quayle, and then the car made a move over towards the wall. That's a new car. And that's old concrete. And you do not want to introduce your new car to old concrete or new concrete or any other kind. Oh, there you go, Amy. I like the we love you side better than the we miss you side. So they'll go back and start getting ready for tomorrow. Here come the final two. They've raced each other now 3 times side by side. First because they were the highest point cars coming in, and next because they were the best qualifiers in session 1, and now because, well, they're the top 2 qualifiers. Sean Cowie, the reigning champ, now back on the left side of the racetrack. Slow down, move over. Logos on the front. Monday's Towing, of course, the family business based in Langley. Core Garage Solution. And the Darien and Grizzle machine for Casey Grizzle, who is an aerospace mechanic or engineer, or, you know, just like really smart guy. Cowie was the quickest in session 1. Cowie was the quickest in session 2. Which kind of begs the question, and I honestly don't know the answer. If you're him, and you already made the 4th quickest run, official run in the history of the sport, do you come back now and go for the quickest? Or do you come back now and go for a consistent race car and some information that could potentially help you win the race tomorrow. Because I can tell you this, records are cool. Everybody knows records are cool, and everybody wants to set records. But I don't believe there's anybody that unloaded their car out there this morning that said, I came to set the record. They unloaded the car and said, I came to win the darn race. That's the plan. So let's see if Sean and the gang decide. Now, they do know they've got a free ride tomorrow morning, unless Casey Grizzle can steal that number 1 spot from them. He staged, I'd say he was going for it. How about 5:11? Hey, Mission, you just watched your hometown world champion make the quickest run in the history of blown alcohol competition. 5.115, all-time quickest, 281.25 miles an hour, and pencil that in as the 6th fastest in history. And he's got 5 of the other 6 anyway. Congratulations down there to the Mondays towing team. 5.119.890 to 60 foot. Quickest run ever by a blown car. And race fans, he's your very own. Let them hear it as they parade down there to pick up your world champion from right here in BC. A 5:26, meanwhile, for Casey Grizzle at 278 miles an hour is a very good run. Unless the guy in the other lane is making the quickest run in history. And that's exactly what just happened. Yahtzee. Well, I guess that answers that question. I was watching the way that Sean was staging that car. He was staging that thing like Sean Langman or Steve Torrance, doing the old bulb blink, trying to get every thousandth of a second he could get out of it. And I'd say he got him. 226.9 miles an hour at the 8th. And again, in a blower car, that is really stout. Brian out. Rolling out now. The only alcohol funny car that made the trek up here. And bumped into him down in the staging lanes. I said, man, I really wish you had somebody to race. He said, you know what? I do too. He said, I made a couple of calls, told people, hey, you need to come up. You need to check out the track. We need to support this deal. But it just is not very convenient. There's not a lot of alcohol funny cars in this part of the world, certainly not nearly as many as there are dragsters, and so he was not going to let you Mission fans down. He said, I want to come up at least do big burnouts, put some good numbers on the board, and show off a little bit for my category. And that's what he's doing right here. Wife Mindy walks away. His son, of course, is out here racing in the stock eliminator and top comp. Solid. That's really solid. 5:44.9, 264 miles an hour. Another good, strong, solid run for the Cascade and Oregon Motor Coach team. All right, Mission Raceway, it is time. Round number 1. Eliminations. Top alcohol dragster. We've got Casey Grizzle, the Darien and Grizzle machine, on the left side of the racetrack. We've got Kim Parker in the Copeland Motorsports machine on the right side of the racetrack. And the real question to be answered here is if Kim and Randy Parker figured out what's wrong with their car. Because yesterday, it was not listening to instructions. They told it do this. It said no. They told it now do that. No. It was being about as petulant as you can be for an injected nitro car. I guarantee you it was a late evening last night over there at Camp Parker while they were trying to figure out if they could pinpoint the problem. The way the ladder works, the number 2 and 7 qualifiers face off with each other, and that's what this is. Lane choice goes to the quicker car. That's Casey. The Darien and Grizzle machine has chosen the left side of the racetrack. Now, I've been watching for the last couple of days. If you can convince me that lane choice means anything, I will buy you one of those beer and ice cream floats with sprinkles and whipped cream on it. Because the surface at this racetrack is spectacular. It is concrete, starting line to the finish line, and I can promise you this, if your favorite driver gets beat, he can't use the excuse, I was in the bad lane. There is no bad lane here at Mission. We are going to know before we get to the Christmas tree if they figured out what's wrong with Kim Parker's car. Because yesterday, every time she stood on the gas, that thing smoked the tires before it got to the Christmas tree. Jerry Darien, wily veteran, crew chief, owner over here on the left side, made the final adjustment and just told his driver, go get us a win light. Randy Parker makes the final adjustment on the side of the injector and walks away from his wife's car. First pair, first round, eliminations. Alcohol Dragster here at Mission. All right, lady and gentlemen, hit the gas. Oh, how about this? Both of them get in trouble, and Kim Parker is going to get the win light. The Jerry Darien machine did exactly what Parker's machine was doing yesterday. Smoked the tires at the hit. Kim got off the line, shook, rattled, came loose, took her foot off the throttle. Casey could see that Kim was having trouble, smashed the gas trying to catch her, but it was not to be. That was the last thing I expected for the first pair of race cars, and I guarantee you, and you can tell by the expression on their faces down there, that's certainly the last thing the Darien and Grizzle team expected. But a 5.66 second elapsed time, and Kim had to work for it. That's going to take her into round number 2. Listen up in the pits. Attention to pits. Motorcycles, come on down. I need you to lanes, please. Hot Rod, you are on standby. Mike Austin, Mike Quayle coming at you next. And I guarantee you, both of these drivers watched what just happened in front of them and went, huh? That's not what we expected. Now, the sun is out today. The track temperature is a little bit warmer than it has been for the last couple of days. But I guarantee you, that wasn't the issue down there. Both of those teams looked like they just missed it a little bit. Randy Parker finally got his wife's car to move off the starting line. He didn't have any experience 100 feet out. Now he does. And Jerry Darien, Casey Grizzle are going to go home more than a little bit frustrated. That's Mike Quayle completing the burnout coming forward. Here's going to be the first of our alcohol cars. Strangely enough, in a class that is called Top Alcohol, you are allowed to run nitro for fuel as long as you don't have a blower on the car. There's a very distinct difference in tone between the two. The high-pitched, high-whining scream of the alcohol cars versus the kind of deep, throaty grunt of the injected nitro cars. Mike Austin, LAD Automotive, out of Oregon. Mike Quayle over on the right side. His crew chief, Brooks Brown. That's the guy up in front of the car that's jogging back now. Been around injected nitro cars since he was like about before born. Maybe 2 years later. But he's driven them, he's built them, he's tuned them. When it came down to qualifying yesterday, Mike Austin, best he carted was a 538. Mike Quayle, a 525. Quayle was one of the cars that came here and tested on Friday. They rattled their way through the middle of the racetrack. All right, RPM up on the left side. Leaving from an idle on the right side. Mike Austin off the starting line. He has problems. It shoots out early in a 5:29 for Mike Quayle. 273 miles an hour. I got to tell you, Mike Austin, a 009 reaction time. I thought he was on his way to victory. at the 8th mile, he was out in front and still looking good. But before he got to the finish line, something happened down there. The car quit. You saw the chutes come out a little bit early. Only 189 miles an hour, 5.297, 273 miles an hour. And Mike Quayle and team will advance from the number 4 spot into round number 2. And I guarantee you, when Mike Austin and that team gets down there at the other end of the race course, looks over the car and finds out what stopped it, they're going to be pretty upset because they were on their way to the win and something caused the car to go silent. Hey, we mentioned it a minute ago, one more time. Whoever owns the golf cart parked right down their trackside in front of the tower, that cannot be there when the alcohol cars are running. That is a tow vehicle only area. You should just go down there and move it.
If it's James Cowie's, you can stay. You can yell at him, and he can stay. It's James.
Cowie, is that yours? Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was yours. That's tow vehicle area. I mean, you guys are racing the funny car.
You can stay.
Next pair at the ready line, Mitch Myers, Chris Demke. We're going to have another supercharged on one side, injected nitro on the other. See, the thing is, I don't mind yelling at James Cow. I just don't want Taylor mad at me. Taylor, I was acting under orders. Don't yell at me. Getting cleared around the top end of the racetrack, and we're going to fire up the next pair here. Find out who's going to come back and race Kim Parker a little bit later on in the day. This is a fun matchup. Mitch Myers on the left side, the 2004 world champion, and he had a mic drop moment. Won the championship and then went, yeah, okay, I'm good. Took off almost 20 years before he decided to come back out here and start mixing it up again. Chris Demke over on the right side, he is also a former world champion. The Peen Wright machine, Jerry Mattern's team, it is a new race car. Matter of fact, hadn't even been to the paint or wrap shop yet. These two, when it came down to qualifying, Chris Demke was the quicker of the two. But as we've seen, it is a new day out there today. Again, we'll have the blower car on one side, the nitro car on the other. By the way, just to reiterate what I said earlier about how much I think lane choice means around here. First pair of cars, Casey Gristle had the lane choice, chose the left side of the racetrack. That's the TCS lane. Second pair of race cars, Mike Quayle had the lane choice. Chose the Lordco side of the racetrack. So when even the professional teams don't see one clear leader in lanes, I think we can put that whole discussion to bed right now. Kevin Watson, crew chief, big guy over there, walking up in front of the car on the right side. Been in charge of Chris Demke's team for a number of years now, racing with Jerry Mattern. Amy was my Dr. Seuss go-to library person yesterday, and I appreciate that greatly. And Mitch Myers for FO Systems, GTSC. Chris Demke is going to have more RPM revved up on the starting line than Mitch Myers is going to see all the way down the racetrack. Demke will be well over 6,000 RPMs when he stages it. The injected nitro cars barely get there, operating on just low RPM torque and grunt. Kim Parker awaits the winner. That sounded like about a double step, didn't it? 529, 259 miles an hour, a little smoke down there in the lights. But Chris Demke taking care of business. Mitch Myers. Mitch, I swear, sounded like he double stepped it. His reaction time was 001. And if you think he was trying to leave Demke in the dust, Demke's reaction time, whether it was reacting to the sound or whether it was a tree, 002. You're going to have to dig deep into the archives to tell me the last time a 002 reaction time left second in an alcohol race. But 5.294, 259 miles an hour. Dempke's car was not happy at the finish line, only 259 miles an hour. But he's going to take the win, and he will be back. Hey, listen, up in the pits. Oh, attention in the pits. Hot Rod, I need you to the lanes, please. Hot Rod, to the lanes. Dial them in and send them this way. Race fans, I got one car left. Now, 7 cars came to battle it out here. When there are 7 cars on the property, the number 1 qualifier earns the bye run. And the number 1 qualifier is your very own. Before they fire this thing up, Sean Cowie out of Langley, BC, has been racing up and down and coast to coast for years and years and years, chasing an NHRA championship. He's finished second more times than he wants to think about. Last year, closed the deal, won the championship, came in here in testing, ran one of the quickest runs ever for a blown alcohol car, came here yesterday in qualifying and set the quickest run in history for a blown alcohol car. He is your very own, and before they fire up the car while he can hear you, welcome home, Sean Cowie, world champion. They are just checking things out down at the top end of the racetrack. You saw a little smoke down there. We want to make sure that there was nothing left out there that we need to get cleaned up. And as soon as we get the 2 thumbs up from down there, we'll send them at you. Hot Rod, need you to the staging lanes, please. Race fans, just to give you a heads up, they're slated the alcohol round 2 to be back on track at 2 o'clock. So plan accordingly. But if you just like hot rods and you just like cool racing, you need to sit right where you are. If you want to go down in the pits and get an autograph or, wish Sean or somebody else luck, get a close look, you're certainly welcome to do that. But we got a lot of really cool action on the track out here, and if you just want to hang out and enjoy it, we encourage you to do so. Hey, racers, listen up. Closed circuit for those of you who went rounds yesterday. If you had money coming from yesterday, we have checks in the tower. And if you made it to the semifinals or better yesterday, you can come to the tower and get your money. Or you can donate it to the Old Announcers Retirement Fund. I might need that someday. Sean Cowie just loves doing burnouts. As I mentioned yesterday, the quickest run ever for a blown alcohol car when Sean qualified at 5.115. When you look at the top 10 runs in history for a blown alcohol car, Sean Cowie's name is one of only 2 in the entire top 10. He and Joey Severance got the entire top of the page cleaned up. As a matter of fact, Sean has got 5 of the top 6, including all-time number 1. Monday's Towing, Slow Down, Move Over, NGK, Core Garage Solution. All he's looking for here is lane choice. Got to run better than 529. He could slow down a bunch and run better than 529. .516, 279 miles an hour, low ET of race day. And he will pick his lane over Mike Quayle in the next round. It'll be Kim Parker taking on Chris Dempke in the next round. But a tip of the cap again to Team Cowie down there, not just for what they've done this weekend, but for the fact that they finally got that championship secured, and now they get to come home in competition here at Mission with the number 1 on the wing. They'll go down, pick up their driver, and go get that baby service turned around and ready to go for round number 2. At the ready line now, Brian Howe, the Cascade truck and trailer alcohol machine. Brian, the lone alcohol funny car here this weekend. I talked to him down the staging lanes a little bit yesterday, and even he was a little disappointed about that. If you follow NHRA on a regular basis, then you're probably aware the participation in the alcohol funny car class has been, lagging a little bit behind the alcohol dragster class. And especially in the northwestern part of the country, there just aren't a lot of these machines that are being campaigned. When it was announced that this would be a national open with regional points available for the alcohol cars, Brian got on the phone and started calling some of his competitors and saying, hey, look, let's go to Mission. Let's put on a show. You're going to love the racetrack. You're going to love the people. You're going to, unfortunately, most of the teams have got their schedules set far enough in advance and just wasn't able to drum up a whole lot of interest. He could idle down the racetrack and be declared the victor of the event, but that's just not his style. His wife Mindy out in front. His son Dylan also racing out here in a couple of categories. For Rad Torque, for Oregon Motor Coach, Dylan Howe. It's going to be a victory lap, but it sure ain't going to be a parade lap. Wow, that thing carried the front end. They were very aggressive down early. Carried the front end, rattled the tire. He takes his foot off of it. A 006 reaction. What do you alcohol guys been, got some kind of energy thing going on. They are definitely locked into the tree up here. We do appreciate Brian and his team for bringing the car up here. They even had a little bit of a snafu down there getting across the border the other night to come up here, but wanted to come up and be a part of the show. For you great Mission fans, hopefully we go forward into the future, be able to get a little bit more participation in the alcohol funny car category to match what the Dragsters have done. Find out the wins, whys, and wheres? Well, we'd love to have you. Come out. There's no other sport that lets people come play on the field. Like, you know, if you're a beer league softball guy, you can't go to Yankee Stadium just because they're out of town. But even if your street driver is a pickup or an SUV, you can come out here from time to time, play on the same field. Well, as a general rule, I try not to play favorites when I'm up here announcing. But when one of the tow vehicles has a sign on the front windshield that says, "We love you, Alan," it warms my heart. That's Chris Dempke's team over on the right side of the racetrack, the Jerry Mattern Peen Ride car. And the left side is Kim Parker. Now, Kim and Randy Parker are still a little bit of an unknown quantity, I think, simply because they have not yet made a clean run down the racetrack. The problem is you keep giving Randy Parker shots at it. They're going to get it figured out. I'm talking about the Copeland machine here on the left side. Rolling into this round, Chris had the lane choice, and he decided that he wanted to be over there on the right side of the racetrack. Now, didn't Chris have lane choice in the last round and decide he wanted to be over here on this side of the racetrack? Again, lane choice is not going to be the determining factor. If your car is right, you can't blame the racetrack. Who's going to run for the trophy? Kim Parker left, Chris Dempke right. Dempke, put that engine on scream and stage it up. Kim off the clutch. Stage it up. Oh, Demke kablooey the blower. And Kim Parker, you gave him too many runs, guys. You gave him too many runs. 5.300, 270 miles an hour. Randy, Kim, Team Copeland down there, you gave them too many runs. They found the sweet spot and sent it down there. If you were watching the Demke car over on the right side, I would bet the house it had a fuel line come off of it, because when he hit the gas, it looked like it was misting. And if that mist was fuel, well, it leaned out and it kablooied the blower off of it. And I really hope that's what was wrong with it, because if that mist was fuel, it'll evaporate pretty quickly, and we won't have too much cleanup. I got my fingers crossed.
Sylvia says, yes, he can call me that. It came from Mark Brennan before he passed. He used to call me that when we ran into the wicked Wahini.
So Chris Demke is going to go home with a broken race car. And Kim Parker is going to go from qualifying dead last into the final round. Qualifying, schmalifying, who needs qualifying? Sean Cowie and Mike Quayle at the ready line. If you look at the car over there on the right side of the racetrack and the fire up, did you see as soon as that blower went kablooey, did you see the first thing they did? They went and got an insulated blanket and laid it over the nose of the car. If you're sitting where you can see the car in the right lane fire up area, that blanket on the nose of the car, that's where the gas tank is. And one of the fun performance facts for injected nitro cars, the cooler the fuel, the faster they'll go. And it literally is so important that NHRA made a rule about it a few years ago because, well, people were putting the fuel in a deep freeze and coming up here with like, hey, what's your fuel temperature? -6. No, you're bothering me now. So they check the fuel, literally, they check the temperature of the fuel when you pull into staging lanes. If the fuel's too cold, you won't be allowed to run. I mean, disqualified from the event for having the fuel too cold. And as the car sits there with the sun beating down on the black body, it would warm the fuel up. So as soon as they saw, okay, we're going to be here a minute, grab the blanket, wrap it back around the nose. Hey, listen up in the pits. Attention in the pits. Super Street, come on down. Need you, please. Combo cars, I think you're all there. If you're not, you're in the wrong place. But Super Street, to the lanes. Super Gas, Super Comp, please stand by. They're taking a look down there, close look at the racetrack. I don't believe that there was any liquid down there to clean up. That's the good news. But when it kablooied the blower down there, the blower studs, nuts, bolts, washers, stuff, are all going to get knocked off, and they want to just make sure that there's nothing down there that Mike Quayle could run over. And so that's basically what they're doing down there, checking things out. Looks like they've got the car off the top end of the racetrack. I don't think it's going to be too much longer. And as a matter of fact, as I say that, they are telling them, track is clean, fired up. I thought that's what they were telling them. So 5.300 is what Kim Parker ran. Want lane choice, you're going to have to run quicker than that. Mike Quayle fires it up first. Just a longer routine with their injected nitro car. Usually not more than 15, 20 seconds or so, but crew chiefs will get together and they'll say, hey, here's how much time I got. Me too. You just saw Brooks Brown. Wave over to the Cowie team and say, all right, we're ready. Go ahead and light yours. for Sean Cowie, coming home. The first time in competition here with the number one on the wing. And he very desperately wants to leave here with the trophy. Mike Quayle doesn't care a lick. Congratulations, you're at home. You should take the rest of the day off. From a performance standpoint, Cowie has absolutely had the best car. There's no question about it. The question is, can Sean Cowie keep the performance juggernaut going? And if he leaves the door open, can Mike Quayle take advantage of it? I mean, Mike Quayle has been pretty solidly in the 20s. It's not going to take much of a mistake for Cowie to open the door. We'll see the teams again acknowledging each other. My driver's ready, so's mine. Cowie left, Quayle right, Parker awaits. All right, Sean, rev that baby up. That's going to be close. That's going to be Cowie, 5:18, and he needed it. Mike Quayle got off the starting mark first. If you were watching close, you could see the car in the right lane got the jump. But Cowie just powered on by 5.185, 278 miles an hour. He outran Quayle by a tenth, but he only beat him by 200ths. Mike Quayle came very close to stealing that on the starting line. But Sean Cowie, at home with the one on the wing, is going to the final round, and standing in his way will be Kim Parker. 5:18, 278. And for Mike Quayle, 42 on the bulb, 29 on the track, and all he gets is a pat on the head. Sean and Kim in the final. Sean Cowie, for more than 2 decades, has wanted to come to this racetrack with a number one on the wing. And this weekend, he got to do that in competition. Can he close the deal? That's the question. After qualifying yesterday, it really looked like if you wanted to beat Sean Cowie, you better show up with kryptonite. I'm not sure if the Parker team has got any, but if they do, now would be the time to break it out. If you're Kim and Randy Parker, and I'm talking about the Copeland team over there, XL Drywall and all of their helpers, they've got to at least feel like they found their race car again. I was starting to believe that their real race car must have fallen out of the trailer somewhere between Oregon and here on the trip up, because the one they had yesterday did not look like what that car normally looks like. Out of Langley, BC, the reigning champion, Sean Cowie, trying to defend his home turf against the slowest qualifier in the field that has made her way to the final round and continue to get better and better every day. Is there a little more luck over there for the green machine, or can Sean Cowie just keep stomping on everybody? Well, Kim Parker gave it a ride, but there is no stopping Sean Cowie on this day, on this track. Sean Cowie rolls into his home racetrack as the world champion, qualifies number one, and absolutely crushed everybody. Congratulations to the team down there for all of the races they've won, for the championship they finally won, rolling in here on this day at their home racetrack with a dominating performance. For the record, 519, 278 in the final. Every run they made was in the teens. And for Kim Parker and team, a 551 at 259. They gave it a shot, just didn't quite have enough race car. And for the Mondays towing team, congratulations, gang. I know how badly you guys wanted this one. Considering everything they've done, some people might think just another race win. Not when it's home. That's your World Championship team in the Black Z71, race fans. And they are also your champs here at the Titanium Strip.